April, and I want to do a book review for your faces because I have words. I always have words, but these particular words are about a book. And so as always, I will start out with a non-spoilery review of the book, and then I will go over into the spoilerly gush or rant or whatever about the book. So if you haven't read it, watch the first half. If you have read it, watch the whole thing, and let's start a discussion. I just finished The Uninvited by Kat Winter, and it was nothing at all what I was expecting, and in a good way. It was in a good way. This story is about Ivy, who has just come off of having the Spanish influenza. She one night realizes that her father and brother have killed one of the Germans in the furniture store in retaliation for everything that is going on in the Great War, which one of her brothers has been killed in. She decides enough is enough. She's going to go out into the world and find herself because she just can't deal, and she wants to find herself. In the process of leaving her childhood home, she befriends one of the German brothers from the furniture store in which her father and brother killed one of the Germans. She feels really guilty and she starts up this friendship with this man. Their friendship gets closer than Ivy ever really expected. And their connection comes from the world of jazz and music. At the same time, the town is being devastated by the Spanish influenza, and Ivy is doing whatever she can to help because she's a very empathetic person. One of the things you have to remember while reading this book is that Ivy and the women in Ivy's family have a habit of seeing spirits before a traumatic event happens, before someone usually close to them dies. So Ivy has lived with this her entire life, and then she starts seeing more and more of these uninvited, and she doesn't know how to deal with them. I really like Kat Winter's writing style. It took me a while to get into the story because something about it felt a little weird, but the farther along I got in the story, the more I understood why it was written in the way it was written and why things felt a little off. It was a very uncomfortable read because it dealt with issues that came about because of the Great War and the Spanish influenza and how crazy people just got, and the bigotry and everything that came along with that, which also made it a little bit of a slower read for me because descriptions of having the Spanish influenza are just not fun to read, let me tell ya. But overall, I highly enjoyed this book, and I recommend it for anyone who likes historical fiction, especially around the era of the Great War and the Spanish influenza. So now that I have got my quick little unspoiler review for you, I have some words I need to get out. Some connections I've made in this book. So if you haven't read the book, go away, come back after you have, and hear my word. I don't know where that was going, but it went somewhere. The greatest thing I found in this book was the Peter Pan references. Ivy is always compared to Wendy by her brother Billy, who's the brother who died in the war. She is always stuck around because she always has felt responsible for making sure the family doesn't fall apart because her father has a very destructive tendency to lash out when he is angry. This leads her to be called Wendy Darling, and there are many Peter Pan references throughout this book, which I started to understand more the further along in the book I got. The real connection finally happened when Ivy realized she wasn't seeing dead people because they were popping up to warn her that people were dying. She was seeing dead people because she herself was dead. The whole mini connection of Peter Pan is that Peter is the bringer of death, and he is taking these lost boys who have passed away to Neverland. And suddenly, Wendy becomes that person who is rounding up all of these lost people to bring them to this jazz club, which I started nicknaming Neverland in my head. So that's where those parallels started happening in my brain because of the Peter Pan references. I don't know if that was intentional by Kat, but that is what happened in my brain. I won't lie, before I started putting all of those pieces together, the relationship with David felt really weird to me. I mean, on the third time of actually interacting, she decides, heck, with all of my morals, I'm gonna sleep with you. What the heck does that solve? Absolutely nothing. But I understand how things kind of fell in line with that and the emotional turmoil both of them were feeling, and the fact that he never really leave where he was, and so he just wanted that human contact again. It just, at first it felt a little forced, but then I started to get used to it and it just became a thing. I don't know if that's how it was supposed to feel, but that's where I kind of fell apart. That and the whole Spanish influenza thing just kind of made me really uncomfortable. And I'm sure that was the point. You succeeded. Great job. So those were some of my feelings and thoughts about The Uninvited. It started out as a read that I wasn't sure I was enjoying, and then it turned into something that I never would have expected in a million years, and I really, really liked it. And so if you've read it and you have words, please leave me more words down below because I want to talk to people. I heart your beautiful faces. Bye. Yeah. Okay, now that you have your moment, you can leave. She's like, no.
She's like, I'm gonna watch.
I'm gonna be back. The book I want to talk today about is, I don't know what I'm doing right meow.